imagination's capacity. If you want to have something show up in your life, the kind of person you would like to become, manifest something new into your life, something powerful, whatever it might be, you obviously must first be able to imagine it. Your imagination is able to do all that you ask in proportion to the degree of your attention. So, what kind of attention do you place on your desires? Einstein's most famous quote, one of his most famous observations, he said, "Imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited. Imagination encircles the world." Logic will get you from A to B, but imagination will take you everywhere. Make your future dream a present fact by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. That which you feel yourself to be, you are. And you are given that which you are. So assume the feeling that would be yours were you already in possession of your wish. And your wish must be realized. So live in the feeling of being the one you want to be, and that you shall be. If this assumption about what you would like to become is persisted in until it becomes your dominant feeling, the attainment of your ideal is absolutely inevitable. You must first assume the feeling of a wish fulfilled in all aspects of your life. Don't allow anybody else's opinions. Don't allow what it says on the internet. Don't allow the research. Don't allow what anybody out there tells you is possible or not possible for you. If you advance confidently in the direction of your own dreams and endeavor to live the life which you have imagined.
Let's go, let's go. Good morning, family. Rise and shine. Another blessed and grateful day. Super excited, TGIF. What a way to go ahead and start this morning, right? Starting it off with Mateo. Those of you that don't know who that is, right? That's one of Bob Proctor's, honestly, direct mentees for years back. So someone I've been able to study for the past 4 or 5 years, who I've seen take tremendous growth and quantum leaps. So super exciting to be able to get that training for today. But we're going to be diving in on developing your belief system, on really getting to the core, right? I've got 4 different areas, 4 segments to really go ahead and think about when it comes to developing your belief system. So let's go ahead and drop our gratitude for the day. Let me get my charger. Here we go. All right, awesome. So what is everybody grateful for coming in to Friday? Grateful to be alive, grateful for God, grateful to be healthy, grateful for the lessons, grateful for the beautiful weather that's outside, for the rare elixir air, for everything that is happening for us in our life and not to us. Thankful today is Friday. The growth includes Friday. So with no further ado, let's go ahead and dive into today for the topic. Here we go. All right, so developing your belief system, right? So I don't know if you guys caught a couple of things that Matt was talking about. One of the biggest things that he really mentioned during that call was anytime that we're going through anything in our life, right? We have 2 questions that we could ask. What do I think about this? Or the second side, how do I feel? And this is so important to understand, because when you really go back and look at our life, we're at a direct point right here, right now, because of the way that we've been feeling, and that feeling has directed our actions leading up until this point right now. This is why they say the feeling is the secret. So anytime that something happens in our life, we have to be able to take the time and really identify what is going on, why are we feeling this way, and where is it coming from, right? Because if you let one scenario affect you, this can affect the whole rest of your day. How many of you have ever had one thing happen in the morning and your whole day was ruined? You were upset, you were frustrated, you were angry for the whole rest of the day because you turned a pebble into a mountain. And I've been there, right? So many times I've been the same way, and I realized it stemmed from asking that little question. Instead of what do I think about the situation, in reality, how do I feel? Because the truth is, if it's not going to matter in 5 months, we don't need to be spending more than 5 minutes thinking about it, right? So this is big. This is a huge paradigm shift, right? Nikki said the old Nikki. So this is big. I love it. So here we go. Let's go ahead and get into the meat and potatoes for today. We're going to be talking about the 4 factors to developing your belief system, right? Steve Jobs talks about it. You can't connect the dots looking forward. We can only connect them looking backwards. So today, let's go ahead and connect these dots so we can really see how our life has transpired to this point. And it depended on these 4 aspects right here. So if we want to change the future, right, it starts with the present now on implementing these 4. All right, so here we go. Number 1, the first thing to go ahead and really change or think about as far as belief goes, right, is your environment. Okay, our environment. And it was so interesting because I was talking about this yesterday. You know, one of my students, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but he's actually in jail. He's been in jail for literally over the past year. Kev knows who he is, but it's wild. Believe it or not, he's literally been trading inside of the business. He's literally hit P600 inside of the business, and he's done it literally all inside from jail. And here's what he did, right? Even in where he's at, he was able to create his own environment, right? He actually, all he did, he had paper and he had tape. So he would literally write down his affirmations. He would write down the places that he envisions traveling, the life that he truly sees, being able to give back to his family once he actually gets out. So even though he's literally inside of a jail cell, he's literally creating his own environment by what he sees, by what he's reading. He never used to read books, but now instead of just spending time, right? That was another big thing that Matt talked about this morning. You see, most people, we spend time, we spend money. But once again, what if we took that little switch and we changed that? What if we invested our time? What if we invested our money? What if we really changed all aspects of our life to, instead of spending it, investing it? And how much more intentional are we with everything that we do? Now we really start to change the people that we're hanging out with, what we're listening to, who we're around. And this is where the real magic starts to begin. So the environment, right? I don't care if you're in an RV. I don't care if you guys are in your house, in your apartment. You have the ability to create whatever environment that you wish that you choose. So the easiest way to start doing that, a couple of different things, and we've talked about this before. Even number 1, if I were to look at the back screen on your phone, what is one of the first things that you guys see every day when you check your phone? So I'll give you a hint. Here's mine. Every day that I wake up, boom, chairman, congratulations. So this is something that I'm seeing every day. So I don't know if you guys know this or not, but we check our phone hundreds of times throughout the day, most of the time, right? Could just be even a quick peek, but you're going to start to realize that even subconsciously just looking at that, no matter if you're at work, if you're at your job, if you're out with your significant other, you just being able to check that is constantly going to give you a reminder of where it is that you're going, so you can go ahead and keep your focus streamlined for the rest of these 5 months. Okay. And even Matt talked about it today again, the seasons of life. We're not saying that we have to cut out distractions permanently, but for a season, it's going to take being very intentional, very deliberate, and really evaluating how we're using our time. Because to be great, to get to elite levels, it's going to take really being intentional with the seasons of life. So the first thing is, what are you seeing, right? What images are we planting in our mind? You know, for me, I'm going to be honest, when I first started this journey, I was living out of my car. All my friends were broke, right? A lot of people around me were negative. So I had to literally start changing a lot of different things, right? Even how I was visualizing, what I was reading, what I was listening to. And it got to the point where I started listening to audios falling asleep. I was listening to audios at the gym, driving to the gym, right? It got so serious. I'll never forget it. Here's a story. We had to go to an event over in, we drove to multiple events, right? We drove to Texas. We drove to Atlanta about 2 years ago. One of my students, he actually drove all the way from Florida to Las Vegas. And I'll never forget it because we had back-to-back events. And the first time that we drove to Atlanta, I actually drove with him. And mind you, I actually met this individual from Facebook, right? He watched me online for about 3.5 months, and he messaged me one day. He's like, D, I love what you're doing. I actually trade as well. I would love to learn. I love to be with a like-minded family, but I'm all the way out here in Michigan. Everybody around me is negative. Nobody can see what I see. In fact, people think that I'm so crazy that they've tried to actually Baker Act me because all of the success I'm talking and what I actually envision for myself and for my family. So he's like, lo and behold, I need to get out of this environment, right? I need to get around new people, new energy. So a week later, right, he actually calls me. He FaceTimes me on Facebook. Mind you, I've never actually talked to him on the phone. And he FaceTimed me. He's like, yo, D, what's going on? And I look at him like, Kaz, what's up, brother? It's a pleasure to finally get on the phone and meet you. And I'm looking in the back of his car, and I see all of these bags, right? He's got literally like 7 trash bags in the back. It's full all the way up to the brim to where you can't even really see out the window. And I'm like, bro, your car's full. Where are you going? He's like, to be honest with you, I'm actually making the drive, and I'm driving from Michigan to Florida, and I'm actually going to go move out there because I told him what city I'm in. He's like, I actually found somebody on Craigslist about 45 minutes from you. I'm making the drive today, and I'm committed to go move in and go learn from you in person. And I was like, yo, that's crazy. Spur of the moment, this guy's 55 years old, the guy who we found on Craigslist. I was like, do you know this guy? He's like, no, I have no idea. I was like, you know what? Forget that guy. Come move in with me, and let's come really run this thing up together. So lo and behold, he literally shows up to my house. He moved in with me for the next 6 months, and we went on one of the craziest runs that honestly started a lot of the momentum a couple years back. But I'll never forget it, right? You talk about somebody that was so determined, so passionate to really change his environment, to change his lifestyle, to change his paradigm. Everything was different once he started moving in with me, because he realized how to really create his environment, because all I had was a little room for him to stay in. And it was so beautiful to see, because in that little room, it was almost like the room he had back home, but everything started to change. He was waking up with audios. He had literally, just like I have right now, I still need to break them out. He literally went and got note cards and little sticky notes, and he would write his affirmations. He would put his goals on the wall. It was so serious to the point where, when you sleep and like you were laying on your back, when you open your eyes, the spot that you would directly look at in the ceiling when you wake up, we had our goals literally written on the ceiling, that serious, right? A week later, we had to go to an event, drove all the way to Atlanta, and he took a dollar bill and wrote 6 zeros after the dollar bill. It's on my YouTube. I have it documented so we can go back and see it. But these are all little things that I realized is so important when it comes to creating our environment, right? What are we hearing? What are we seeing? And what are we speaking on a daily basis? Because if you have those 3, it doesn't matter if you're in an RV, if you're in a trailer park, if you're in your house, your apartment, you're with your parents, you can create your own environment wherever you're at. So that's number 1. The second thing to go ahead and really, really look at, you ready? This is going to be the people, right? I'll never forget this quote my mentor taught me years ago. He said, if you can't change the people around you, then you might want to think about changing the people around you. So what does that mean? If we can't change the people around us, if the people that are around us right here, right now, they don't have the vision, they don't have the mindset, they don't have the unpersonal development right now for you to go ahead and create that life, and this is who you've been associating with for the past weeks, for the past couple months. Now, I'm not saying there's something wrong with that, but just like we talked about this morning, there is a season in our lives to be very intentional, to not just spend time, but to invest our time very wisely. So I'm going to be honest with you, 4 or 5 years ago, all the people that I was around were broke. They didn't have visions. They didn't have goals. Wasted Wednesday, thirsty Thursday. They're doing the same thing every week, to go out to the same places, to come back broke on Monday. And I kept wondering why I was thinking the same cycles of thinking over and over again. It's because I was around a certain type of people. So the second that I heard this quote, if you can't change the people around you, right? And to be honest, I wasn't even really serious into personal development. So I wasn't studying. I wasn't taking notes like crazy yet, but I started to listen to personal development. I started to listen to audios, right? That was the beginning. That was the little change for me. And then I caught this quote. You can't change the people around you, change the people around you. So when I got around a mentor, I started to realize how much my time was being wasted by what I was currently doing, right? I was smoking and joking. I was hanging out with my friends, watching TV, playing Xbox. I would see them sitting in a room with their girlfriend, watching Netflix for 6-7 hours at a time. And I was wondering why I was stuck. But you know what's interesting? When I started getting around Chino, when I started getting around his mentors like Darwin, like Matt, like Jason, The time that I saw that most people were hanging out and just chilling, they were there taking notes. They were studying. They were always sharpening their sword. They were beating on their craft. They were on calls. They were going to the gym. They were meditating. They were journaling. And it shifted the way that I thought. It shifted the way I moved about my day. It shifted the way that I actually thought about myself, because I got a little bit angry. I started to realize, what am I doing every day? The time that I spent wasted could be spent on really building myself. Because the more that I hung out with them, you know what I started to see? They're average people like you and I. You know, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Jason Brown used to be delivering Chinese food and pizza 7 years ago. Jason Brown was $70,000 in debt. Matt Rosa was actually doing the same thing. I don't know if you guys know this or not. Matt Rosa and Jason Brown were so broke when they first got started, they had to split it. They had to split the 235. The Chairman 750s that you see, making 750,000 cheeseburgers a month, yeah, they had to split that at the beginning. So when I tell you, I've been able to see individuals completely change their environment, change their circle of influence. This is all keys to really creating your belief system. So this is big, right? So in order to go up, we have to give up, right? So I had to do that. I had to give up the individuals that I was currently surrounding myself with, and I had to find a new circle of influence. And I'm going to tell you right now, being able to get on these Zoom calls, being able to get in these group chats, being able to show up to events is so important. Why? Because now you start to see like-minded people. You know, the beautiful part about this business, and it's something I just do subconsciously all the time. I was talking about this yesterday. It's just ingrained in me now. Anytime that I see anybody walking, you know, when I see somebody on social media in person, it doesn't matter. I immediately can I can envision somebody that is successful, that probably looks, walks, acts just like them. They're just at a higher level. Male, female, white, black, short, skinny, it doesn't matter. I've seen every walk of life becomes successful with this academy, with this platform. You name it, I've seen it. Third world countries out there in Johannesburg and Trinidad and Tobago. Yes, we have Chairman Hundreds out there. And mind you, some of them didn't make more than $300 a month when they first got started. So I know what this can do when you change your environment. I know what this can do when you change your circle of influence. So let's go ahead and go to number 3. Because sometimes, you know, the closest people around you can be your biggest hindrance, your friends, and even, honestly, even your family. Most of the time, your family's not going to believe you when you first start on your journey. So I'm not going to tell you to disassociate, but what I am going to tell you is you're going to need to be able to take a temporary loss of self-esteem from people that don't see your vision. This is big. This is crucial to know, because if you don't know it, and you keep hearing all this negativity, you're going to wonder why it keeps draining you. But when you know what's coming ahead of time, you're going to be able to handle it. Okay, so this is big. Number 3, information. To really go ahead and change our belief, the biggest thing that really redirected the way that I thought, the way that I was thinking, my level of vibration, honestly, was information. The audios that we listen to, the books that we're reading, right? We got a couple phenomenal audios this morning and a couple books this morning from Matt. You know, some of those books were very advanced that he actually brought up in the beginning with those first 2 authors, where he was talking about Genevieve Behrend and Thomas Trevor, right? Genevieve Behrend, honestly, that's a book I've been waiting to dive into for a long time. Your Invisible Power. This is big because this literally stems from Bob Proctor talking about the imagination and the mind, and it dives into, you know, the 6 higher faculties. This is huge. It's so important to know. Will, reason, intention, memory, imagination. This is so important to understand, because most people, they don't know, and you don't know what you don't know. But when you start to really see high levels of success, what you start to notice is those individuals have learned to almost block out their 5 senses when it comes to certain things, right? It doesn't make sense to most people how some people get to certain levels, but the biggest reason is their level of thinking, right? We talked about your radar this morning. This comes from Kevin Trudeau. You see, most people, imagine if we had glasses on. Ready? Imagine if we had glasses and we can only see a certain perimeter, right? Just like right now with your peripherals, you can only see to, I forget what it is, to like 45 degrees from where your eyes are actually straight. You can't see side to side. So here's the difference. We have what's called a radar. So we can only see what's in front of us with our vision, but our radar is talking about the things that we can't see, the things that are working outside of what we can physically see right here, right now in front of us. This is crucial because for most people, when you start doing the compound effect, when you start doing your morning routine, some of you have been consistent for 7 days, 21 days, right? You've been on a roll, but if you don't understand the law of the compound effect, the laws of compensation, the law of value, you're going to wonder why you don't see things happen directly right now because you're moving off of your 5 senses, off of what you see, feel, hear, see, touch. But you don't understand what's happening in the spiritual world, what's happening on the other side. So this is huge. Another book that, I want to go ahead and give back to you guys to really go ahead and think about, and then I talked about it this morning along with Matt, is Asking It Is Given. Laws of the universe. Jim Rohn talks about it all the time. A lot of the times the problem with us is not being able to give. A lot of us can give all day long, right? We can give out the things that we like. A lot of us gave out, the shoe store, the food that we ate last week. We give out recommendations all the time. But you know what the problem is for a lot of us? Is asking. Asking with intentionality, asking with a purpose. Because inside of that book, it literally talks about what you ask for, it can be given to you. The same way that we hear it all the time. If you can see it in your mind, you can see it in your head. We hear all these same concepts over and over again. Why do you think we hear them so repetitively? Because these are laws of the universe. You can't run from them. This is just how it works. And if you can learn to get aligned with them, this is where you're going to start to see things start to happen physically inside of your life. And last but not least is going to be to really develop your belief system. You ready? This is experiences. Experiences. And if you look at the word time, what does time stand for? Things I must experience. Time. So over the course of this journey, even just like Matt talked about it just now, he is a completely different person from being able to go over to Europe and experience 10 different countries over in the past, whatever it was, month and a half. His mindset, his paradigm is a completely different level than what it was at before. And this is the truth about all of us. As you guys start to attend these Zoom calls, as you guys start to get around your mentors, as you start to attend these events and hear these stories, hear these testimonials, you're going to get a whole different level of vibration. You're going to get a whole different shift in your perspective to where the things that you saw before, you're going to be able to see them completely different, right? Here's a perfect example. Trading. Once again, got on this morning from 9 o'clock to 10, from 9:30 to 9:45. We made our bag in a matter of 10 minutes. Look at this. In a matter of 10 minutes, let's go to the day. 87 for the day in a matter of 10 minutes. So when I ask people the question all the time, how much an hour do you believe that you're worth? Mind you, when I'm getting out of college, I was only seeing 10, 15, 20. Nobody was making $30 an hour. Can you imagine making $90 in 10 minutes? This is the power of information. This is the power of when you change your environment. This is the power of when you change the people that you're hanging out with. You see, I don't see $100, $200, $500 the same anymore because I understand the power of being able to multiply that. Right here you go. I'll give you guys another one. So Neno's girl, Katie, did a phenomenal women's call last night. Check this out. How many of you, I want you to think about this. What was the last thing that you spent $10 on? Let's think about it right now. What was the last thing that you spent $10 on? It was probably a meal. You probably spent $10 on a meal yesterday. So let's think about this. What if you had a $12 account so you could see it? What does the balance say on top? The balance is $12 and the equity says $177. So that means if she were to close this trade out, her balance would literally have gone from $12 to 100 and pretty much 77, minus the little fees, $12 to almost 200. Where else in the world do you know that you can take pretty much $10 to 200? So I'm going to be honest with you. In my experience, before I got out of college, I had never seen that in my life. Never thought that was possible. The only way I knew how to multiply money was illegally. And most time you had to have a couple $100. So when it came to the ideology of being able to have my money work for me on a plane, at the mall, on the beach, these are experiences that I've had over the past 4 or 5 years that completely changed the way I look about money, the way I look at time, the way I look at relationships, the way I see actually being able to make and live an abundant life, right? In 2022, right, from my experience, you know what I've seen? No matter what job that you have, no matter what it is that you do, you can make a part-time, full-time income right here from an app on your phone if you're willing to make a decision, if you're willing to go ahead and be coachable and teachable. The only difference is just time. There is no failing, right? Quitters never win and winners never quit. If you stay on the course, if you stay in line, there's only two ways that this works. You either become successful or you quit. How do I know? Because I've seen it time and time again from people who probably came up from a lot tougher walks of life than I have, then maybe you have as well. So I knew if they could do it, so can we. So family, with that being said, that's my training for you guys today on how to go out and believe and really create your own economy, really create your own environment. Because if you look at the word believe, if we break that word down and you look at the middle, you see BELIEVE, right? What's the three letters in the middle? Lie. So inside of believe, we have lies. So whatever lies that we tell to ourselves, this becomes reality, right? He who says he can and he who says he can't is usually right. Our brain cannot tell the difference between a lie and a truth. So what are we speaking on a consistent basis? Are you speaking that you are successful? Are you speaking that you do have a 6-7 figure trading account? Are you speaking that you do have success and abundance and leaders joining your business on a continuous basis? What are we speaking and what are we thinking? Because whatever we think and think about, we bring about in our life. So family, that's my training for you guys today. I couldn't be more excited to see your growth, to see your success continue to manifest inside of your life. Just know we are just getting started. So family, if you got any value from today, smash that like button down below, drop some sevens. I'm excited for the rest of the month. We've got AZ coming up in literally a month's time. Things are going to be completely different as we sit here in a month from today. So family, I love you guys. Go out and have an abundant day. Go have a fulfilled and joyful day. Love you. Let's go out and make it happen. It's game time. Let's get to work.